All right, well, it is 6:31 and I will call this meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded by us. If any other person is recording, please say so now. And we'll do a roll call. Counselor Garrett,
I am here.
Counselor Gordon,
Here.
Counselor Williams,
Here.
Counselor Golub is here. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes from September 10th, 2025?
So moved.
Second. Patty can have it.
Any discussion? All those in
We got a roll call.
favor, we're gonna roll call. Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Golub says yes. Approved, accepted the
Right.
minutes. Public comment. Speak now.
Okay.
Spoken. Okay. Public hearing. I will read the public hearing now. Oops, one sec. In accordance with Home Rule Charter, the Appointments and Ordinance Committee will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 at 6:30 PM at the City Hall Meeting Room, second floor, 14th Court Square and Zoom. To receive public input on the following. Amend code on the following chapters: 120 Crossroads Cultural District Committee, Chapter 136, Human Rights Commission, Section 2, Membership Terms Vacancies, Chapter 193, Ways and Means Committee, and Chapter 423, Wetlands.
What time is it, guys? 6:33?
I'm opening the hearing at 6:33. I'm closing the hearing at 6:33. John? Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Motions. I will read the motions tonight because it's easier, I think, for somebody in person and you're doing all of that work over there, so I'll just read them.
Perfect.
Okay. Order number fiscal year 26041, the city council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council amend the code of the city of Greenfield as written in the attached here to chapter 120 Crossroads Cultural District Committee, sections 121 and 122. A, B, C, and further amends the index of the code and further that non-substantive changes to the numbering of the ordinance be permitted in order that it be in compliance with the numbering format of the code of the city of Greenfield, majority vote required.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second. Give it to her.
What happened?
We're fighting
Give it
over
to
who gets the
Rachel.
second.
Rachel's turn.
It's an auspicious prize.
John can be the referee, the
I'm
judge.
just gonna do every other one. That's how I'll be fair here.
Sorry, but you have the block to
works.
say it then.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Well, I expect they both will
Oh,
say,
okay,
you know,
cool,
they're
there
so
we go.
enthusiastic, you know. So,
All right. Discussion on this change. Yes, John.
This is a very small thing, but I noticed when I was looking at it in under 120-2 heading C. It says the CCDC committee, and the C in CCDC, the third C stands for committee.
Ah,
So we should get rid of that other committee.
all right. That other.
I noticed the same thing.
Did you?
Thank you, Counselor
Good
Garrett.
job.
I was just, I don't know. It's one of those like proofreading things. I'm just like, well, but actually.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That is, all right, so you'll make a note about,
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'll just make section
and Tammy, if you can please
120-2.
amend that. So I guess,
C, remove the word committee.
And that's a non-substantive change, so.
Right, right. So we don't have to redo the public hearing.
no. We better not.
I don't think there's anyone who could argue this is a substantial change.
Famous last words, my friend.
I know. I mean, anybody can argue anything, but it wouldn't be in good faith.
So let's not. Yeah. Any other discussion on this motion? No. All right. So we will vote on whether to recommend positively or send a recommendation to council. And with the amendment of crossing out that extra C. Yes.
That extra committee, the word
So
committee.
you're going to cross out the word committee instead of the letter C. Well, either one is fine with me.
Let's get rid of committee. 'Cause-
Cool, that works because you're working with an acronym. I
Right.
concur. Okay. All right. So all of those in favor of, no, I have to do a roll call vote. So
Do we need to make a motion to do that tiny amendment?
I don't think
I don't
so, because
think
it's
so.
just sending forward a recommendation.
Okay,
I think
right,
we
and then
would have
it gets
to.
amended at council.
Yes, okay,
All right.
Tammy, if you can please make sure to delete the word committee so we don't have to amend it at council, it would be very good. All right, so I have spent a long time since I put forward a motion here, so this is a vote to approve so we're vote. Because typically I say all those in favor and we go aye, all those.
That's right. Oh, yeah, all in favor of the motion.
So, but
With that.
we have to go around, and so
It'll be a
I'm
roll
just
call
thinking of, so I'm just gonna do a roll call vote, say yes or no, or abstain. On passing this motion forward with a positive recommendation to city council. Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Golub is a yes. Okay. Order number fiscal year 26042, the city council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council amend the code of the city of Greenfield as written in the strike through attached here to chapter 136, Human Rights Commission, section 2, membership, terms, vacancies, paragraph A. And further amends the code, index of the code, and further that non-substantive changes to the numbering of the ordinance be permitted in order that it be in compliance with the numbering format of the code of the city of Greenfield. Majority vote required.
Second.
So any discussion on this? So on passing this with a favorable recommendation to the city council, Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Golub, yes. Order number fiscal year 26043, the city council moves that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council amends the code of the city of Greenfield by deleting the existing chapter 193 Ways and Means Committee in its entirety and further amends the index of the code and further the non-substantive changes to the numbering of the ordinance be permitted in order that it be in compliance with the numbering format of the code of the city of Greenfield.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
We should be prepared for silly comments from the members of Ways and Means about us deleting them.
But
Except
just to be clear, we're
Except that
not
we're not.
deleting them.
we're
Right.
not.
Right.
And will they be intentionally silly? Or will they be actually believing that we are committing them, like deleting them?
I bet you it will be I think it'll be intentionally silly. I think if folks look at the packet, they'll realize because it explains it right there.
Right.
Okay,
The rationale is right
Yeah.
here. Like,
it's right there.
It will be a test, I guess, to see if somebody reads the packet.
Okay, so can you make a request that, and this is, I'll say it for you, Tammy, when you're listening, but also we'll write it here, that can you please include in the city council packet the rules of procedure section that articulates the existence of the Ways and Means Committee as part of the city council?
That's a good
So
idea.
that people see that in writing. That was a really good point.
that's a good idea.
Right. So people will be. Any other discussion on this one? Okay, we'll wait till you to give you time to do that. Yep. Okay,
Um,
yep, good. You ready?
yep,
Okay, so on passing this forward with a favorable recommendation to the city council, Councilor Garrett,
yes.
Councilor Gordon,
Yes.
Councilor Williams,
Yes.
Councilor Golub is a yes. Okay. Order number fiscal year 26044. The city council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council amend the code of the city of Greenfield as written in the strike through attached here to chapter 423 wetlands protection. Further amends the index of the code and further that non-substantive changes to the numbering of the ordinance be permitted in order that it be in compliance with the numbering format of the code of the city of Greenfield. Majority vote required.
So moved.
Second.
The only thing I'll say about all of these is if members of the public happen to be listening to this recording and wondering why we're not talking about them, they can listen to a previous meeting in which we talked about all of these.
Yep.
Sure. So it's not that we're not discussing them, just that we already have. So given that, any further discussion on this item?
Can someone just remind me in 423-3 C, what was the reason for this change? I can't. It's a little hard for me to read what it
Yeah.
is being changed from, but
Yeah, just hold on a second. I'll reread this one. It's been hard for me to just keep all of these in my brain, but it's just
Oh,
Can't
a lot of
imagine why.
streamlining, right? It's streamlining the application process, but do you see the purpose?
yeah, so the change is the addition of language. It's exactly the same language except for the phrase that replacements do not substantially change or alter the structure or facility. And so my guess
Got it.
is that this is, yeah, so somebody was using this as a way of saying, oh, no, we didn't change it, and they put some giant new thing in a wetland.
Yep.
You know, and so it's closing a loophole is really what it is.
Yeah, or
Thank you.
prohibits that from happening in the
Right.
future.
Yeah, explicitly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
Thank
question.
you.
Yeah,
yeah, thank you. And I think the rest of these are about making the process simpler, right? Like you don't have to submit 7 copies of everything anymore.
Right. Yeah, on that note, that's one of those things too. If we ever see like 7 or 8 copies of something, copying this language wouldn't be a bad idea because it's good boilerplate.
yeah,
You know,
that's.
Yep.
Good point.
even that kind of in the back of our heads.
Yep.
Great.
Anything else? No? Okay, then, on forwarding a favorable recommendation of this to the city council, Councilor Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilor Gordon,
Yes.
Councilor Williams,
Yes.
Councilor Golub, it's a yes. Thank you very much. Order number fiscal year 26053, the city council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council pursuant to Charter Section 210 affirms the following appointments and reappointments by the mayor, all terms to expire December 31st, 2028, unless otherwise posted. Board of License Commissioners, Amanda Abramson. Conservation Commission, Erica LaForme. Constables, David Payne and Joseph LaChance. Council on Aging, Janice Colbert, Margot Peck, and Randy Handelman. Elderly and Disabled Taxation Fund Committee, Jim Geis. Franklin County Technical School Committee, Paul Duran. Greenfield Local Cultural Council, Marcel Laflamme and Mo Schwager. Historical Commission, Matt Abbey. Historic Housing Authority Committee, William Mason, term to expire December 31st, 2030. Parking and Traffic Commission, Sebastian Bootwain and Jean Wall, both terms to expire December 31st, 2030.
Real long terms on that
Yeah, that's.
traffic commission there. You are
Both long,
waited in perpetuity.
yeah.
Lucky us.
Park Planning and Construction Committee, Carol Collins and Nancy Hazard. Public Library Board of Trustees, Doris Cowdery and Samantha Wood. Public Safety Commission, David Lanoy, Ed Jarvis, and Catherine Bryce Barger. All terms to expire December 31st, 2029. Recreation Commission, Barbara Zacchio and Heather Valenta. Retirement Board, Marion Fisk. Sustainable Greenfield Implementation Committee, Hannah Rechtschaffen and Jonah Keen. Zoning Board of Appeals, Deborah Gilkes and Mark Maloney. Majority vote required.
So moved.
Second.
Long list.
The person reading the motion isn't making the motion. Sorry, I'm just point of process.
Yeah.
I think when you
good
read the
point.
motion, you are making the motion.
You're correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then never mind.
So we're just
Yeah.
we're all enthusiastic.
It's
I guess because typically the person reading it. Really?
Yep.
Man.
I don't know.
Doing
a
this for almost
process.
2 years.
I don't think it's problematic either way.
No, I appreciate the
Yeah,
correction.
it's good point though. Yeah, it's all right. Any
And should
discussion?
we make explicit the request for Tammy to correct 3030 to make it 2030, which is actually what it's supposed to say?
Oh, I was like, this feels long, but I didn't.
Yep.
Yes, please.
105 years.
Let's change that. I
I can know.
1,005 years.
mean, parking lots can last a long time, but probably not that.
I hope.
Traffic
That's what
should
it was.
not be a 105-year term.
It's 1,000. It's 1,005.
1,000.
1,005 years. Yeah. Can't even get that.
We're working on it. Math.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Item? Nope.
Thank you,
Thank you to all
everybody.
these folks, as always.
Yeah.
This is a lot, and good job to the mayor's office. Appreciation for filling all of these
Seriously.
positions. This is a lot of people doing a lot of things for the community.
There was one person who's like, put me wherever, and the mayor had no problem doing that. it seems.
Wow. Wow. Yeah,
Which is
Yeah.
great.
yeah.
Just appreciate those people.
Yeah, all of them.
That is good thing. Any other comments? Okay, so on forwarding a positive recommendation to the city council, Councilor Garrett,
Yes.
Councilor Gordon,
Yes.
Councilor Williams,
Yes.
Councilor Golub is a yes. All right, back. Okay. So now we're moving into the discussion part of our agenda. Of course, we have plenty of discussion before. We just already had that discussion on those items. So I'll start the conversation on chapter 2027 cannabis social equity. Who here, did you have a chance to read your email before the meeting? There was an email that was sent midday today, so I don't expect you to have read it, but just to update you.
I saw the thread and I was honestly hoping you could explain.
Yeah, okay.
Because
Yeah.
I was in part of it,
Okay.
parts that I wasn't, the initial kind of batting it.
Yep, so I asked, it's so hard to find emails. Hold on a sec. Does anyone know even the title of this? Because they're just all from Tammy. So I want to look at it. I mean, I can. Never mind. I know what has happened. So I reached out after seeing the proposed language about the social equity ordinance. I reached out to Director Twara to say the aim of this looks really important, really good. And as written, I don't believe that it's enforceable because there would have to be a whole bunch of supporting documents showing like planning to actually implement this. I'm not interested in passing a policy that has no plan of implementation. And he said, you're right. And I think that in order to plan for that, we need to hire a consultant whose expertise is doing this. And he recommended someone to the mayor. And I've gone back and forth a little bit with the mayor, and there sounds like there's some confusion. Just today, I had reached out to her like a week and a half ago. I hadn't heard back. There were elections, makes sense. And I heard back from her today saying the director says we don't need one, and then Eric, the director of CRAG, quickly responded and said, actually, no, I've been clear, I do think that we need a consultant. Either way, however a plan is written, I feel strongly that there be some plan of implementation before and a whole lot of clarification in the proposed ordinance before actually making it a law. So there's some disagreement there. And Director Twarg is retiring pretty soon. So that's where it stands currently.
Okay.
So are you suggesting we don't move this forward?
I'm
Is that-
suggesting we don't move this forward until we have more substantial plan for implementation. And what I had agreed with Director Twarg is that he previously had agreed with, he would come back in December. He was hoping that there would be a plan by then, but it doesn't sound like there will be. So I think we're waiting on the city to share how this will be implemented and clarify the language before passing it.
I remember from the email chain, this other potential ordinance came up kind of out of
Yeah.
nowhere. Like the mayor mentioned, like cannabis social use.
Yes,
Like a pot cafe, like in Amsterdam or whatever, basically, right? Like that's, are we
honestly,
required to, because this
no,
is
it's
something. that
totally
we-
different things.
But I know we have to do this eventually.
We would have to do this in order to qualify for something, and I'm not remembering.
Okay.
Does anyone else remember what? I don't want this to be, we're passing a law to check a box to be able to
In
get something
compliance,
else.
yeah.
Like I'm not interested in doing that,
But is,
To be able to get them what? Sorry.
but I'm not, it's some qualification from the state requires this for something.
right,
I'm not remembering.
but do you know if the social use is another requirement, like even just passing an ordinance?
No,
So that's just.
I don't
an
know.
option?
I don't, I think they're distinct.
Right,
They're distinct conversations, and because this
they
is
have
what,
cannabis together.
yeah, they're both about cannabis, but they're distinct issues. And because the one that we've been requested to look at is the social equity policy, I have not wrapped my mind
Yeah, okay.
the least
that's fair.
bit around. But I know that in this email from Director Twarg 10 hours ago, he said, there's some misunderstanding. Passing the cannabis social equity ordinance does not require Greenfield to allow cannabis social consumption establishments. It's a separate zoning decision. So that would not even be under the purview of A&O. That would probably go to EDC.
Sure.
Totally different topics.
It sounds like holding tight on this, as Patty was saying, is the best move
Yeah.
for now.
That's,
Yeah. I mean, my recollection of this is that like we needed this in order to be able to enforce the social equity aspect of the law, like making sure that we're abiding by the social equity aspect of the cannabis law. But since we have to hold tight on it anyway, I don't know that that requires further discussion because it sounds like we're just waiting for information.
it says the initial email from October 20th. Director Twarg says adopting such an ordinance with a corresponding equity plan is one way municipalities meet the CCC's compliance regulations for municipalities.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is that
Yeah,
that's what we would need to do in order to meet that requirement.
yeah,
Plan would be on the city side, right?
Yeah.
Like we'd have nothing to do. We could
No.
say the city has to make a plan and an ordinance, but we aren't plan makers.
no, we would not make the plan,
Right.
but I don't believe that we should pass a law unless we have a plan. If this experience has given me one thing, it's that passing laws without implementation doesn't make much sense.
No, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Is there any other discussion of this? Anything else folks would want to say?
Anyway,
Is there any loss for not doing this now? Do we suffer anything?
We might, I don't know, because it sounds like we're out of compliance. It's one way for municipalities to meet the CCC's compliance regulations. And like I think social equity policy is a good thing to have if it would be implemented. I don't know so the city will need to do something in order to comply, but that's not on, our side is not compliance, our side is passing laws.
Right.
So this is very freshly on the mayor's, I mean, it's several weeks, but I think there's clarity being had today. Like, I think they're talking about it today.
Okay, so let me ask a ridiculous question, I suppose. Can an implementation plan move forward without an ordinance being passed? Is this a chicken and egg?
I doubt it. I don't actually know the answer, but I'm doubting it because all of the operations, the implementation, I don't actually know. This is my guess. That like things are implemented in the city all the time without codifying them as laws. And that we could move pretty quickly once if somehow the plan needed an ordinance to back it up, which the recycling did, like that was something that needed an ordinance, but they were able to implement a whole bunch before we passed the ordinance. So there are cases where some law is needed, but we could do it quickly once a good plan was in place. I think that would be a question for the mayor, or it would be a question for Director Twarog.
And who actually would develop an implementation plan?
Well, Director Twarog is saying that capacity doesn't exist. There's a difference of opinion about whether the capacity exists in-house. Director Twarog is saying that we would need to have a consultant do it.
I see. Okay. But we don't suffer any kind of consequences from the state or anything like that if we hold on this?
I mean, there might be consequence for compliance, but it's on it's the city's responsibility it has to have an ordinance with a corresponding plan. So that's on the city. Our responsibility as legislators our role and responsibility as legislators is to pass sound laws.
Right.
To throw it back at the state for a second, like when the state created the legalization of cannabis, and the state did not have equity at its heart in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was you have to have $1 million. It was like $1 million or $2 million in capitalization for any of these businesses, which is not gonna, people that are disproportionately impacted by cannabis criminalization are not those people.
Yeah.
So like the state Cannabis Control Commission has this as part of it, but they're more checking the box, I think, than anything else. And so
Yeah.
like the original sin, I would throw at Massachusetts.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
when Governor
Yeah.
Baker was in charge, like he really did not make the effort to make this a justice-based system.
Yeah.
It's a big business. Cannabis is big business in the state rather than being like a different model.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I'm not super concerned. Like, I think the state we're hearing about this now because the state's finally getting to equity versus it being a problem that we haven't gotten to equity yet.
Yeah.
So I'm very much not worried about us getting in trouble,
Yeah.
from the state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to mention that the commission has a lot more things on its agenda to figure out before they
Yeah.
get
There have
to.
been some scandals, right? Like in relatively,
Well, it's been a little messy.
yeah, I don't know the details, but I will Google it after this meeting because I'm curious.
Well, I appreciate you naming that. Like, it's not like, oh, the city is doing something wrong. It's like, there's so many things to think about.
Right.
And like, and there's goodwill, I think, from everyone to do this well. It just slows down the process for us to do it well.
And I think your point about if we can't implement this, we're not actually helping anybody
Yeah.
is very well taken. And
Yeah.
I think that's important.
It undermines the meaning of law to pass laws that you won't implement or have no way of implementing. So,
Okay.
yeah. It's been really helpful to me as I think through all of this to come back to the values that we articulated at the beginning of the process, which are equity, enforcement, and expense.
Yeah.
So especially like the enforceability and the equity pieces, those are just like primary in my mind. So it's been really helpful. Is there any other discussion that feels important to have on this topic?
Not at this time. No.
Okay. All right. Well, so let's do this. I'm holding in mind that like not at this time, Counselor Williams. So at committee chairs, I will make sure that this doesn't come forward unless one of you requests that we discuss it again. So feel free to ask the clerk feel free to tell the clerk that you'd like this on our agenda again. But and until then, we won't be on our agenda again, but any one of us can bring it back if we want. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Great. Back to the agenda. Vacancies in office. That's on page 62. There
One
was,
thing I was thinking about with
Yeah,
this, and I
yeah.
can't remember if we talked about it previously, so I apologize if I'm kicking a horse that's down or something. But the failure to attend meetings piece of this, how are we thinking about committee meetings? Because like if we talk about
What?
consecutive meeting, like if a city councilor, you know, if there's a failure to attend meetings that according to this, I mean, I don't know how we handle this now, actually. It's part of my question. Like, say you have a city councilor and they don't attend 4 or 6, you know, full council meetings, but they're going to committee meetings. How does that count against them? Do we know?
But it doesn't, this is only for appointed, not elected offices.
Oh, okay. There you go. Sorry.
Um,
My brain is
To
very
answer
foggy.
the question about counselors, the subcommittee meetings count. So if you
Okay.
miss, that's part of it.
But does
Thank
it count in what way?
So it's, if you have 20 absences, I think it currently is in a year, you currently have to basically be effectively publicly called out by the council president about it. Or I think it's after 10, you get an email or something. I don't remember. It's in the rules of procedure.
Yeah.
I don't remember the
You
specific
can be
details.
Censured.
You can't be, nothing happens to
happens to
you
you.
other than a
Just call them.
verbal public. This person has missed X number of
Yeah.
meetings. Which I think there was talk about potentially changing, but I don't remember where that conversation went.
Yeah,
It's hard to lure about it at some point, but.
Yeah. yeah, we can't hold like elected officials accountable in this way. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, totally. No, the answer to my question is that this doesn't apply to the thing that I was worried about.
No, that
It was a
language,
dumb
yeah.
question.
Yeah, we added that language is the applicability, because I think you did, or somebody did ask this, and it was a really good question, and so that language is at the top.
Yep. Yeah, I did add that.
Yeah. Any
Doing great over
other,
here. Everything's fine.
it's,
We're all there.
yep. I had something that I wanted to add, or 2 things. Well, one to add, I would add this to paragraph 2. Absences will be considered excused. Oh, this is language Patty suggested that is elsewhere somewhere. Absences will be considered excused in the case that committee members experience personal illness, personal disability, emergency, or military service, provided these factors make attendance unreasonably difficult and that they inform the chair. So that there's a definition of excused absences. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay. I will email this language to, I'm gonna send an email to myself.
Catherine.
I don't have the language right in front of me. Email Tammy absences update.
Okay.
And so then my request was, I think this is ready for a public hearing. I think that with that additional language, unless anybody has anything, I think it's ready for a hearing and a motion next.
I agree. The only thing is this applicability piece
Yeah,
doesn't have a section that's part of it. It's just kind of like at the beginning. It should probably live,
in a section.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe as section 1.
Yeah.
Applicability.
okay. Yeah, can you make that?
Yep.
So would folks agree that this is ready for a hearing and a motion next time?
Sure.
Okay. Anything else about this one?
The only other thing is the wet signature piece. I know we talked about this, and it's important to the clerk's office that people sign. Why can't they tell by email that they no longer live in town? So like in second paragraph, section 1, if they cease to be a resident, they must promptly notify the city with a wet signature.
So that someone can't impersonate them.
Oh, that makes sense. Thank you. I appreciate
Security
it.
thing.
Right. Okay. Perfect. No notes.
That's. Um. Okay. Does this feel ready to go, June? So hybrid meetings. The one change I would make to this is that I would take out the subject to appropriation at the end. Because the part of this that's specifically targeting is the one about,
Translation.
translation. Does anyone see that? Okay, that is 49.7E. Because there's no budget currently for translation. I would instead of having that subject to appropriation at the end, which Kathy was recommending, I would move that to a comma at the end of E and make that be subject to appropriation.
I will say that when I read this and got to the end and saw that it was in this format, all subject to appropriation, I actually felt a little bit relieved because I do think, I mean, technology costs money, and like I certainly think that we should keep appropriating money for it, and I think that we don't know how budgeting is going to develop over the coming years. So I don't know, like I kind of feel like the whole thing should be subject to appropriation because I think that that's true of basically anything that we do in the city or that we commit to doing.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of
Agree with
sense.
that.
Yeah, I'm looking at like our list of committees, like if there was 3 committees that needed to meet for some important reason, and this is the only camera that's available, they wouldn't have the ability to do that meeting with the camera, and then maybe some important business couldn't happen. So I don't know, just something going wrong and us not having a replacement, and therefore having to cancel all meetings.
Yeah.
Because we've set such a strict kind of ordinance,
Uh-huh.
I
It
think
just
is,
makes me a little nervous.
yeah, no, I think that's caution is warranted. You know, I don't think it's gonna be a problem,
Yeah,
but again, the things you don't think of often end up being the problems.
yeah.
I mean, I think, and I would understand that the argument on the other side is we don't want to make it subject to appropriation because we don't want to give future councils the option of not doing this, right? Like
Right,
that's the whole point of
exactly.
the ordinance.
Right.
So I'm not sure if there's a way to account for that in other language here, but I just can't get away from the thought that like everything that the city needs to spend money on is subject to appropriation, and that includes the use of technology.
I mean, so it's articulating what is an implicit.
Yeah.
I will say, because we're gonna get there later, that I'm gonna bring in another piece from other ordinances from like our ordinance discussion. 3 that have been on my to-do list, but I just haven't had the time to prioritize are the 3 that have to do with styrofoam mercury thermometers and plastic bags, that there's no funding. If the city is not paying health inspectors, those ordinances won't be. And I don't know, I don't think that they're being enforced to the extent that they're not being enforced to the extent that they should be according to the law. And so I have not researched those yet, but I mean, they could all add subject to appropriation, which just really makes me sad too, because they're all really important. But that's part of my update. So it's like, yeah, I want these all to be enforced.
Sure.
And I feel like if it's subject to appropriation kind of calls into question the whole thing.
Just,
Yeah.
part of, like, I'm thinking about this physical space we're in right here.
Yeah,
That we don't have this in there currently. But we could, if we specified, X number of spaces, the city hall meeting room and the John Zahn Center and the fire station meeting room all need to have hybrid meeting capacity. You specify that in there, and then at the end, instead of just simply saying subject to appropriation, you could say subject to functioning technology or something like that to, and I'm just thinking out loud, like, what's the potential issue with this is technology is not working.
yeah,
So what if we explicitly said that and specified certain areas? And so, if in that kind of scenario I put forward where there's 4 meetings in one day,
yeah,
well, there's 4 meetings, there's 3 rooms, that gets that meeting number 4 able to happen without going away from our desire to have the public be able to access everything.
yeah,
And by desire, I mean our commitment to law, right?
yeah.
And so I don't know, that might take a little bit more thinking, as far as like the spaces themselves or the language you use, but that's just one
Yeah,
maybe way to make this work, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So unless the meetings happen in one of those 3 rooms. So there's 2
Yeah.
ways. I'm hearing 2 different things, so I'm a
Sure.
little confused. So unless one of the meetings happen in one of those 3 rooms, the meeting can't happen. Because
Unless,
because of access. You
Yeah.
have to allow public access.
right,
the library, I haven't checked in on the library in a long time, but that there should be access. So John's on fire department and the library should have access. But yeah, you're correct.
right. And so I guess what I would like to see if, just in this, keep going down this path, you have those 3 or 4 rooms that have access. There's another meeting that doesn't have access to the rooms with access, to overuse the word, but that meeting would still be able to happen because it's publicly posted and the public can access, get to it.
If there was a big like you're talking
Yeah,
about
emergency,
someday
yeah.
in an emergency, everyone needs to meet all at once.
Which is really, a crazy scenario.
Yeah. But I mean, what's implicit here is that, yes, that's correct, Councilor Williams, that there are 3 or 4 places that the meetings can happen, and these bodies will schedule themselves at times when they're not overlapping to the extent, like, so that the number of meetings matches the number of rooms. And we've already paid for that technology. We could get to a moment of collapse where the technology breaks down and we can't replace it. Like,
We could even just, make it simpler, subject to appropriation or extreme extenuating circumstances, like, which I know is like flexible, maybe too much.
mhm,
Anybody can claim an emergency, as we've seen on the
Yeah.
federal level,
yeah,
and make that any excuse they want, but.
yeah,
I mean, it's also an interesting point that on the flip side, like, it is implicit in just about everything we do that it is subject to appropriation. So
Yeah.
like, if it's implicit in everything else, do we need to make it explicit here? I don't actually know. It's a good question. I also want to say, Patty, I'm not sure that you actually finished what you were saying before, so I want to make sure that
Oh,
you
I'm
get
sorry.
the chance if you had something more to add to what you were saying.
No, it was
Okay.
a question.
it
Because
was a question, yeah.
So I think when you start saying stuff like the meeting can happen if it's an emergency or something like that, that gets very slippery,
Yeah,
and there'll be a lot of contention around it, and you know
Yeah.
where it's coming from. I don't even have to announce it, right?
Yep.
So I don't want to dance around that language. But because I do not visualize an emergency where, there might be an emergency where the council has to meet,
Yeah,
but I don't see that was an emergency that A&O would meet or community relations would meet. That's not an emergency, right?
the agricultural committee.
And you're right, exactly. Oh my God, I lost my ballet shoes. What am I going to do? What I'm saying is the point being is, I don't think we need that language. I think it's explicit that the committees meet when there can be a hybrid meeting. I
Yeah.
think the frustration people have had, and I've had it as well, when the technology doesn't work and, it's a problem when you have to cancel a meeting because the technology doesn't work. And I'm hoping that, the plan that we put forward at one point in terms of training people, et cetera, and so on, that gets implemented, because I think that's going to be very important.
Community relations is discussing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Ryan Whitney sent out the email, and I went back and forth with him, and then Laura did, about adequate training. And so I know that they made that a topic of their committee.
Right, right. Exactly. So I I don't think it's necessary to say in here, in the event of an emergency, because I don't think the committees are going to have an emergency. The council may, but the committees won't.
Or that they all have to meet at exactly the same time.
Right.
Like, that's a,
Yeah. I think it's just really unlikely. I just was kind of thinking it through. Yeah.
No.
I mean, the funds for the technology have already been appropriated, except for translation. I mean, we already have the existing technology. Which is why my preference is to put that just under translation, because it hasn't been appropriated. And there is no current plan to appropriate it. And so we could strike through the piece around translation, but I feel content. And also I will say that I talked to Kathy, finally, we've been in an ongoing conversation the last year. Kathy has not put it off by any stretch, but it was mostly put off because we were investigating translation services. But this part under F, that is all the things that need to be specified on agendas, has not been specified on agendas. So the clerk's office has created a new template for meeting agendas. And we finally, Kathy and I talked about it today. And the language there is far simpler than this language, but it adequately reflects the language about what needs to be said in order for people to know how to give public comment. So this section F. And we put there that Greenfield does not, Kathy wanted to say Greenfield does not currently pay for translation services, but we also I asked her to add, our participants can bring their own translator. So chairs should know that people are allowed to have somebody translate for them. So, yeah, I don't feel strongly enough to advocate strongly for it, but we've appropriated the money. Yes.
I have another doom scenario.
Okay, go for it.
Somebody's super mad at the city government for whatever reason. They come and break all the cameras. No more meetings.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, this is
Right?
a question,
Like,
this is related
It's
to a
written
question
right
that,
now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that would mean that you couldn't appropriate funds to fix the cameras. Because
You could appropriate.
the mayor could out a general fund, it's true.
They
but
don't.
it's
well,
a-
right, this is the question that I was about to ask, actually.
Appropriation. Yeah.
My question, which kind of speaks to that, is, and this is like probably basic ignorance on my part, once funding is appropriated to purchase equipment, then do we need to keep appropriating money for the upkeep or replacement of that equipment, or does it come out of a different part of the city budget?
Yeah, we would need to appropriate it
That's true for, okay,
for any payment, to pay for anything.
right.
Money.
Well,
needs
that
to-
goes back to the original point of like, if it's implicit in everything, do we need to make it explicit somewhere or
Right.
not? I'm really on the fence on that one. I don't know. Sorry.
I agree. I'm imagining somebody being mad and smashing the cameras, so I think we should keep it. I do. I know it's like and I could be talked down from this paranoid ledge. If anybody feels really strongly about it, but that's kind of where my head is at on it. It's just, I don't want to straitjacket, and if something crazy happens, I'd rather us have the ability to say, well, look, it says subject to appropriation and we need to meet or something.
To appropriate the funds,
Yeah.
because we can't meet
Again, I'm going down a rabbit hole here and I'm sorry, but it's.
Well, no, I mean, that's our job is to question each other and to,
No.
yeah.
Rachel asked a good question, and so made a good point, and so
Yeah.
it's got me thinking about it.
Well, fine, because I mean, if the money has been appropriated, we have new technology in many places. And if somebody smashes the cameras, then we couldn't meet to appropriate the funds.
Right. If it happened to be budget season,
We'd be
like if
breaking
it
the
was
law.
in May before we vote on the budget only, because otherwise we'd be fine. So it's really an edge case, because otherwise the budget's already passed.
It's definitely an edge case. Like, I'm not so worried about that.
Yeah,
I don't want
that's
us to
that's
plant the seed in
reasonable.
anybody's head, but the premise that to me still stands, that like I do think that it just makes me a little nervous to not give ourselves a little bit of space to get around it if needed.
Okay.
Even though
that's fine.
I see the counter argument for sure.
I will not die on this hill.
I mean, we're also not voting on it tonight, so like we can
What's
think
that?
about it a little more.
What do you think, Counselor Williams?
Well, I don't visualize somebody coming in with the hammer and smashing all the cameras, actually.
That's fair.
I can imagine it in my imagination, but I don't think it's a very likely scenario.
Nope.
And I'm sitting here thinking about language that would, cover that kind of a situation. My slippery slope concern is, in the past, there's been a history of hidden government, and we're all very committed to transparency at its highest form. That's a given. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So then but when you create language, we're going to come and go and other people are going to come. Right. And when you create language, it's kind of has a life of its own in perpetuity until somebody else changes it. So I don't want to make it easy for somebody to say it's an emergency.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out some kind of language, and I'm kind of digging back into labor contracts in terms of an emergency.
Mhm.
And emergencies, an emergency would be, when the governor said it was a snow day, people got a snow day kind of stuff, but it had to be an official declaration. So I don't know, maybe, in a situation where all the technology got smashed or crashed or totally corrupted, then I would think the mayor could call that some form of an emergency. I don't know I don't know if emergency is the correct word, but some kind of a situation that would allow the meetings to continue even if the technology failed. That's what I'm saying. But it has to come from someplace, and I think it would have to come from the mayor.
Yeah, I think
I see.
that's an interesting question about like I don't know what the mayor's emergency powers are now, but I do actually, that is a much more likely scenario than the ones that we've raised so far. Like a technology crash is certainly not out of the realm of possibility. And to be clear, I'm not actually in favor of adding the language about emergencies to this. My question is like just keeping in the sentence that they're now about appropriation or not. Because I agree with you, Councilor Williams, that the idea of an emergency is very, very slippery and can actually bring up possibilities for people that they might not have considered otherwise, that we don't want them considering. But yeah, technology crash is certainly a possibility. And I don't know then if the mayor I would imagine already has the power to declare some kind of state of emergency that would allow the council to meet or whatever needed to happen, to happen outside of the normal bounds of our rules and ordinances. But I would want to make sure of that.
So what would we all say about two things? One, the translation paragraph, ending that with subject to appropriation. And instead of making the entire thing subject to appropriation, replacing that with language like, in the event that all of the city's current technology does not work, the mayor can call an emergency meeting declaration that allows necessary meetings to be held in person.
Sorry, say that again?
Yeah.
In the event that all of the city's current technology does not work, the mayor can call, or all of the city's technology does not work, the mayor can call an emergency meeting declaration that allows necessary meetings to be held in person.
I would, my question would be, does she already have that power? Which I imagine the mayor's office does have. I think we should check on that, because if we don't have to add that language, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, I think this Patty and Rachel's point about the slippery slope, like, and especially the history of less transparent government.
Yeah,
They wanted to do some shady real estate deal and declare an emergency meeting so nobody can be there. That is a scary, more real possibility than my crazy camera scenario.
yeah,
So. And on the other hand, like dealing with an actual crisis of technology is valid, that's important.
yeah.
But I'm trying to Google just to see if anyone else has done this. Like there's gotta be other cities.
This ordinance, that's also, this ordinance matters because it was precedent setting. No one else
Oh,
in
okay.
Massachusetts had something.
Got it.
And so us doing this well matters because this is model language for other places.
So, yeah, figuring this out.
So to me, the big question is, what emergency powers sit with the mayor's office that would matter in one of these scenarios?
Well, if this language isn't done anywhere else, that means and if this language, nothing close to it has existed prior in Greenfield, this would not be listed under an emergency powers for the mayor, I would think, right?
Well,
Well, it wouldn't be listed, it may not be listed specifically. I mean, but it's the sort of power that wouldn't list everything that it could possibly govern, right? Like, I think that I would hope that there's some kind of basic parameters and within which there's got to be a lot of squishiness, because that's how those things work.
yeah. Some emergency.
Or maybe there's not a lot of
powers
space. Yeah, we should find out.
So I can send this to Tammy. I'm writing down this conversation, sending it to Kathy, Quinn, Laura. Thank you. So I'm going to say, does an emergency policy currently exist that would cover the following? Would encompass the following statement, and what emergency powers does the mayor have in scenarios like this? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oops. How do I-
Article 3 of the charter might say something. I'm looking
Okay.
at it.
How do I cut with these?
You just keep the charter next to you, your dining table, Patty,
I'm at my desk.
Doesn't
or
everybody?
your desk.
Listen, I want a copy of the budget. How insane is that?
Control.
Oh,
We're all here because we're nerds.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, hi, Tammy, following up from our A&O conversation. I really appreciate this conversation that we're talking in specifics. That question about emergency powers. Yes?
So there was the ACLU, apparently it was pushing for a bill to pass the Mass
Yes, they
legislature.
were.
And so I just found the text of it, and in it, it says, except in an emergency, in addition to any notice otherwise required by law, and et cetera, et cetera. So they do have in the proposed language in the ACLU was in the House and the Senate, they do mention emergencies.
There probably is a definition of emergency somewhere in the
I'm
charter.
gonna see if I can find.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, so do you mind if I read this? Except an emergency, and anybody else now?
Yeah.
In addition to any other notice required by law, public bodies shall post notice every meeting. Okay, this is about posting. In an emergency, public body shall post as reasonably possible. So that's just the posting, sorry. Let me see if there's any other instances.
I think that sending this to Tammy is sufficient for right now, given
Okay.
that there's a bunch of other things for us to discuss. If she comes back with nothing, I mean, I bet the clerks, this is something that the clerk's office can help us with. I hope, Tammy. Does that,
I don't see anything right off the bat in the charter. So yeah, I think Tammy's office is probably the wisest thing to do.
all right, so I just am emailing her this. Does that sound like a good next step?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm realizing I left my bag in the car with my water and I'm getting thirsty, so I'm gonna call just a 2-minute break for us to drink water.
I actually need to get more water, so that's great.
Good.
I guess I should drink water.
Yeah, water's pretty important.
Be one of the cool kids, John.
Yeah, my son has started drinking water out of a cup. Very impressive. Yeah, I gotta copy him.
Oh, goodness.
Agreed.
I'm tired.
Same. It's that time of year, and that campaign was a lot, so it's enough to knock it out of you.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, it's been a week. And it feels like it was 2 days ago, It
I
just,
know. No, it does.
just
we'd have-
physical and mental exhaustion.
Amen to that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. Kind of what
Yeah.
I'm eyeing. We have a 5-day school week next week, and this week was 4 because Veterans Day.
Yeah.
But man, all the teachers keep talking about like, oh, we got a full week, watch out, it's like, and then of course it's Thanksgiving, which is lovely, but so we're about to get into the holiday sprint, but I'm enjoying being right here in this moment. Like after this meeting is done, it will be a little more, it's like, okay, another breath,
Yeah.
But you're learning a lot about psychology.
Sure am. Yeah. It's helpful. Oh yeah, I had something about this next one. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I'm gonna go get water. I'll be on the pool.
So be cool with me. All right, everyone ready to start talking again?
Yep.
Rules of procedure. Thoughts about this?
I'm glad that I like the consent agenda. I did have a question about, it's on page 72. And then number 6. So it reads, number 6 is any item may be removed from the consent agenda upon the request of any city councilor prior to the motion to approve. And the request removed does not require a second, and then all such items should be considered individually and placed in the regular agenda. So I guess there's 2 parts of that I'm unclear about. It doesn't require a second. If an individual member just says, I don't want this in the consent agenda, does that then lead to a vote to take it off of the consent agenda? Or does it just automatically happen? And then
It automatically happens.
it just automatically happens. Okay,
Although we need to make sure that's clear.
yeah, because I remember it being described as such, like that basically when I was talking to Laura about this, at one point, she mentioned that's how it works in like her meetings, for the board that she's on. And so, yeah, making that clear. And then the second piece, prior to the motion to approve. So, wherever,
Wait, can you,
yeah, sorry.
where, just, I want to follow prior to, oh, that second, yeah, okay, go ahead.
And then where it says prior to the motion to approve, does that mean when we're looking at our list of items? So where is it? On page 71. The consent agenda be item number 9. Does that mean somebody needs to, like when, President Wendelowski reads out and says, okay, now we're moving on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion? As soon as somebody says the word motion, it's no longer debatable. Does that mean somebody, once she says those words, cannot take something off the consent agenda? It's done? Like you're stuck with it?
Okay, I'm just making a note. It's 7:36. So I'm making a note in this meeting because I think that Counselor Brown should hear these questions
Okay.
and probably address them better than.
Sure. And no, and again, I'm all for it. Like I
Yeah.
want the consent agenda. I just want to make sure that once we get to that item, it doesn't trap us.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden we're in this up or down vote on the entire thing.
yeah,
Because like, I think the idea and the kind of way that this was presented to me was like, okay, if somebody doesn't want it on the consent agenda, no harm, no foul. We have a full city council discussion.
yeah,
Stuff can't just be shoved through,
yeah,
and so that was just really, and any item may be removed from the consent agenda, the request prior to the motion to approve. And the fact that you can't discuss the consent agenda, maybe that could just be changed except for removing an item from the consent agenda. Is that possible? Maybe that would be a solution to this.
I think those are great questions. And yeah, as much as we can clarify this so that it is as easy as possible for people to take things off of the consent agenda.
Yeah.
I think I totally agree with you, Councilor Garrett. I think it's really important because I will say, like, going to a conference of elected local officials from across the country this past summer, like I heard a lot of mentions of the consent agendas and how people found them very problematic because they are being used in very different places, places with very different political environments than Greenfield. Hopefully that will stay true, but being used to kind of shove things down people's throat. And if there was a minority on any sort of political view on the council, like consent agendas were being used to sort of bowl over, their concerns. And we definitely don't want that to happen. On the flip side, consent agendas are great when they can save you time and just make it easy to get through the agenda, more efficiently, et cetera. So I'm also totally in favor of this. And Councilor Brown and I have talked about this a fair amount, but yeah, I think adding that clarity will be really important.
Yeah.
and hold on, Counselor Williams, did you have your hand up?
See, no, I didn't.
I would even be comfortable if somebody saw the agenda for the full council and saw something on the consent agenda and didn't want it there, even just sending an email and say like, hey, can we put this back on the regular agenda?
Yeah,
Like I want it to be, as Councilor Gordon was saying, as easy as possible.
yeah,
And frankly, I think that would be less confrontational than being like, hi, I'm the person who wants the meeting to go longer, in
Yeah.
the full public meeting. Cause it's a hard thing to say, right? Like,
Yeah.
the pressure of wanting to just get done is big.
Yeah.
We're all human and we all want to go home, and so like making it so when you're, had a snack and you're in the afternoon and can say like, hey, we need to talk about this.
yeah.
Would probably be better than having to be on that spot,
Well, I think both are important. I think that on this,
No, we
something may
definitely
emerge,
both,
but yeah, but any counselor can take it off at any point
Right.
prior to or during the meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, prior to, if we can get that in there, I think that would be great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other things that you'd want Counselor Brown to be able to answer for us?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to right now take a moment to email her. I'm going to say, hi, can you please listen to the A and meeting about 1 hour into the meeting. Talk consent agenda and write a response to the A&O members with an update, response to the clerk to then send to the A&O members with an update, with updated language language to section 6 addressing our. this- Okay, does that sound good for me to send that to Counselor Brown? Have that on discussion next time, okay. Um. Anything else on this?
You mean on the rules of procedure stuff in general?
Yeah,
I'm just looking back over all of the sections. I guess I did wonder a little bit about in section B, going backwards under Rule 2 meetings, the special meetings thing.
wait, where, can you say that, where is it?
Sorry, it's on page 68.
Oh, yes.
I think that the intention here is adding email as a way to communicate that people want to call a special meeting, which I think is great. Let's use email and not have to like show up in person. But the secure electronic communication that allows receipt confirmation, I wasn't entirely sure what the receipt confirmation piece meant, and maybe this is just like I'm overthinking it, but does that just mean like allows for people to hit reply and say, yes, I got your email?
That's how I
Or is
understood
it like, you know, how some email services, like you can, there's a setting so that you can set it so that you know when someone opened your email the same way there is on text messages. And like, I just want to be clear on whether like that's the requirement that would need to be met here, or if it's just like someone, if, you know, if the email could say like, please confirm you got this, then people will say yes, and then we'll consider that receipt confirmation.
Can you put that question? So Tammy's hearing the question. Could you also put the question there? Because this is the clerk's office putting this forward.
Yeah.
Receipt confirmation.
It's a good point. I was just wondering about the agenda. We never use unfinished business, older new business. And I'm just wondering like, if that's still in accordance with open meeting law or,
It might be. I don't know.
I mean, like, no, but like, we never use it. It seems like if we used it, it would be out of accordance with open meeting law. Because it wouldn't be something that had been on the agenda.
Hmm.
So why do we have it on the agenda?
I have wondered what those refer to. Like, I think I maybe have seen at least one of them used like once or twice, but I can't think like what the criteria is. At the very least, we should define
Right.
members of the council, like what would go in those sections if there were to be things.
Yeah,
Can we use new business for EDCs, like public hearings for EDC meetings? Like if there's gonna be a new zoning change, it's always ends up under new business. It doesn't,
Really?
I thought it did.
Yeah, no, there are
First
things I feel
reading.
like that go under that are
That's
just sort
true.
of like, heads up, we're gonna talk about this next
Right.
time.
Yeah, notice to the public under new business of like a zoning change discussion.
First readings?
Yeah, first reading.
So first readings going to new business?
I think that's right.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
I want to say, Kathy, would you be willing to share a definition of unfinished, new, and old business? And when they're used, they're wondering if they're still in accordance with it all, and if we can actually use them as they are still on the agenda.
I mean, I'm not too concerned about it either way, because honestly, if we don't have anything in those sections, it takes a second and a half to say old business, new business. Like, it's not like it's taking a lot of our time, but
Right.
if we don't need them, let's get rid of them. And if we
Yeah.
do, if we could be using them, then people should have a clear understanding of what we could be using them for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was not clear about was three, so 5658A, and then section 3. During the time of
Sorry,
the meeting,
where?
the city
Say
council.
that again.
So 5658A, and then section 3. During the time of the meeting, the city council shall at 90-minute intervals be scheduled to take a 5-minute recess. The recess shall be held after the question has been addressed and voted on. Does this mean that we should be voting to take a recess, or is anyone understanding that?
No, it's not well worded. I'm 98% sure that the reference is like if you are in the middle of discussing a motion or a question that requires a vote, even if you hit the 90-minute mark, you should wait until that specific conversation is done and the vote has been taken before you recess. Like, you don't have to stop in the middle of debating a
Okay.
motion to take the
Okay.
recess, is what I believe this refers to, but the language is not super clear. You are right.
Okay.
You're looking at page 72 still?
Yeah, at the top of page 72. So if this seems like a question that it's just, some of these questions are easy to put in email and some of them are really hard to put in email.
That one, no, I think it's after the question that is currently,
The current question.
yeah, and I mean, if we
It
wanted to
feels
add the
clear
word,
to
the
you.
current question, I think that would be more clear, but I can see the confusion.
Okay, let's ask Tammy to add the word current before question, just so people know what that means.
It's,
The question at hand or something.
Yeah, the question at hand. That's the current question at hand. That's good. Okay.
I have a question
Yeah,
on the, I'm gonna go back a little bit here. In terms of, on page 71, under agenda, public comment is number 7. And although I haven't witnessed lately a situation where there's a whole lot of time that people have been sitting waiting to speak what they have to say. In the past, people have been known to have to sit there for 3 hours
right.
while discussion was going on. And I out of respect for people's time, and to allow real accessibility so people don't get exhausted or leave out of frustration, I think public comment should be as early on the agenda as possible. And I'm wondering if it, after the Pledge of Allegiance, could it possibly come there? Because people are coming to speak on a particular question. Whether or not the council is addressing it that night is a different piece, but very often it is. And then that could perhaps give some light to some of the latter discussion that the council is taking on that day. I'm just, out of respect for people's time, I'm wondering if the public comment could be up earlier in the agenda. Does that make sense?
I think it's a great question.
I'd be in favor of it. I think that the counter argument is that if city staff are attending, I think it's whose time are we prioritizing? I think someone could argue, well, if city staff are coming to speak on an issue, making them wait, either cost money, although many of them are salaried, I
Mhm.
think, so maybe it doesn't actually cost more time, but more money if somebody's going to wait for somebody. And I think someone could argue that we shouldn't make the city staff wait, but I would be supportive.
Just one thought. I mean, we have the ability to suspend the rules, right? And so we could change the agenda order during the meeting. If there's like a giant line of the public and we have the poor superintendent of schools who has like,
Yeah.
I want to tell you about the band concert. We could switch the order for just that meeting.
Yeah.
And so they can like say their piece and then get out, and then the giant line of the public gets to go
Yeah.
nice and early as well. Cause I
Mhm.
don't know, I think there's less harm to do, I think there's a lot of good to be done by putting it earlier too,
Mhm.
you know, and we can prevent harm to the city staff if, you know, in our judgment, we look and we see like, we really be spending a lot of, like the city's lawyer, for example. If
Yeah.
the city's lawyers in
Yeah.
attendance, it would make a lot of sense if we made this switch to have them speak because we're paying them by the hour.
Yeah,
And I think the public would appreciate that.
yeah,
Especially if they saw us vote, like, hey, folks, we know you're all here, and
Yeah.
because we respect you, we don't want to spend, you know,
right, yeah,
$600 an hour or whatever it
Yeah.
is. You know,
yeah,
just actually, I have no idea how much the lawyer makes,
yeah.
but
Either, but it's money.
it's more than I do.
Yeah,
You know?
it's money.
So,
Okay.
Would we all like to ask to amend this?
Mhm.
To put public comment, public hearings after Pledge of Allegiance?
Unless
Yes.
there's some other like real substantive reason that someone has that it shouldn't happen that way. Like, but yeah.
I think your point, Counselor Garrett, that the rules can be waived. And we'd rather have to waive the rules for city staff once in a while than
Mhm.
make everybody wait always.
Right.
Yeah. I like that.
What was the
I
other
think
thing?
that's
There was something else I needed to write down.
Not-
Austin.
My brain doesn't hold ferns.
Mine doesn't apparently, okay.
Well, the
Apologies.
receipt define receipt confirmation.
That's there. There's something else about the consent agenda stuff's in there.
I wrote to Counselor Brown about consent agenda.
Yeah, apologies. I think it's okay.
Oh, the current question at
Oh,
hand.
thank you. That's on 70.
All right.
Just the current question
Yes.
has been addressed and voted on. Okay.
All right. Anything else about rules of procedure? Okay. So moving to public assemblies, Counselor Williams.
Dear Lord, I did not realize you were going to get all of my hen scratching on this. When there's actually just two pieces on here that I wanted to change.
Okay.
Two little things. On 217 3 C,
Mhm.
the line that says that First Amendment activities would take precedence over non-First Amendment activities. Now, this is where I talk to you about the teddy bear picnic.
Hmm.
Well, she's gone off her rocker. Oh, well.
I
So,
mean, I'm just curious.
okay. So if there, suppose that there is a family that's doing a birthday party at the common for some reason, that they're got the kids there, there's a picnic, they got the teddy bears out, etc. And someone comes along, some crazed anarchist like myself or whatever, screaming about something. Do the kids have to leave? I mean, basically,
Yeah.
the ordinance says that a First Amendment situation takes priority over non-First Amendment situation. And to me, it seems a little bizarre.
But this is about licenses, right? Like this is about
You don't need a license for having a demonstration on the common. You can just have one. First Amendment rights.
but isn't this whole section about license commission?
I think it's not clear.
Public assemblies.
The strike. Normally such restrictions favor non-First Amendment activities over First Amendment activities.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say that that's actually that to me, that's a bigger fault of this whole section is what you just said, Counselor Golub. Like, it's not clear
Yeah, I
what
think
this
also,
section actually refers to. Like, is this the License Commission having a say, and
Oh.
in what way?
No time, manner, or, so this is
Well,
very much, a lawyer wrote this. This is
yeah,
like,
this is not very clear.
no time, place, or manner restriction. These are, so like you can't shout fire in a crowded theater, right? That's the famous,
Right.
that famous restriction on freedom of speech. So that's a time, place, or manner restriction. You can be punished for falsely shouting fire in a crowded theater. Regarding, and so that anything where you're using speech, and speech doesn't have to be words, like the family doing the teddy bear picnic, they're saying happy birthday. That is freedom of expression of the First Amendment too. So that's also like a non-First Amendment activity. Like they're saying it's a happy birthday. They're claiming space in public to make a statement, even if it's like not a political statement in any fashion. And so, in that particular, like somebody, a non-First Amendment activity would be like walking down the sidewalk in the common. And so therefore you can't say, oh, the people walking down the sidewalk deserve to walk down the sidewalk on the common, which is a public gathering space for the anarchist, convention or whatever. Does that make sense? Like, this is very much like, I bet you I could take a guess on who wrote this. Actually, I remember when we did the beginning of the year thing, the minutes on this was Isaac Mass, and there was a whole bunch of back and forth on this.
This is, yeah,
This is absolutely, I remember seeing like in those minutes when we were looking at it, there was a lot of contention and he ended up coming back like 4 times with
Yeah.
this stuff. It got really, very constitutional law-y, which, so.
yeah. There's a lot of this that that doesn't feel clear to me. But that part still doesn't feel that clear to me.
Yeah,
And I think what I feel like I need to know is, because if you go up to 217-3, reasonable time, place, and manner,
Mhm.
I don't even know what that means.
up on page 76.
Yeah, I just don't know what it, yeah.
No, but when, let me
above?
finish my sentence.
Go for it.
It says the License Commission shall recognize and implement the city policy on First Amendment assemblies. Oh, I see. Established in 217-2. I mean, like, it's a weird thing because like the License Commission doesn't is not an implementing, but it's not like they're gonna go out if there's a assembly that violates this policy and be like, we're the licensing commission, you guys can't be here. Like,
Right.
there's a weird implementation question here.
So as somebody who has done the work to do demonstrations in town, basically the only thing that the License Commission did, I mean, basically you book time. So if you're going to have a demonstration on the common, you book the time, you basically say, we're going to do it on this date from this time to this time. And then they're making sure it doesn't clash with something else that's already booked or whatever. So that's in essence what they do. And then basically you have access to the electricity of City Hall to set up a microphone. You can use the stairs at City Hall, but you have to also get, I mean, the common is one thing. The walkway where the farmers market takes place is another, because that's a considered a passageway, and that's what they're concerned about, passageway. So people do have the right to walk up and down. You cannot block sidewalks. You need special permission to block that street passageway. But it's not like it costs money or anything like that. It's just you block, you book it. Basically, you book it. you know, for the common, et cetera. So, I mean, Energy Park is a different story because if you use electricity there, it costs money for some reason. I'm not sure why, but there was some discussion about that. So the language in here is vague, and that's not a bad thing, I think, because we want people to have access. We want people to I personally think people should be on the common, especially these days,
Mhm.
demonstrating around immigrants' rights and, you know, pending wars with whoever,
Mhm.
et cetera, and so on. And the fact that democracy is, you know, going down the drain quickly in this country. So people should be out there, et cetera. And the language was written. I don't think Isaac Mass wrote this because I think he gave people a very hard time when he was in the licensing commission. He tried to control some of the stuff that was going on, and people basically told him where to go. But he had therefore he had no case to bring against the demonstrators, because you have the First Amendment rights to gather. You know, you can gather and demonstrate, and so it's written pretty vaguely, I thought. But the only thing that came about in my head was, like I said, the teddy bear picnic. And if you think a teddy bear picnic is First Amendment rights, okay, then that's not an issue. And then the language around, there's a lot of stuff around not demonstrating at people's houses.
Mhm.
I went back and forth on that in my own brain.
Mhm.
Because personally, as a labor person, I have demonstrated in front of people's
Totally.
houses. But I basically negated the blah, blah language and basically said, no demonstration shall be permitted that are targeted at an individual's residence. I think it's reasonable
Uh-huh.
for Greenfield. I think it's
Uh-huh.
reasonable. If we were in Wellesley, I'd say no.
Yeah.
We have the absolute right to do this. So it's a different kind of situation. So, but other than that, I went over the language several times. Like I say, I've gone through the process several times and have not had trouble.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say about this. And I'm sorry you got all my head scratching notes. You
Oh.
should not have gotten all of that.
You don't, that's fine.
Okay.
I guess, so my question in response to that, because I completely agree with you, Counselor Williams. So then my question is like, why, maybe I'm misunderstanding, why would we cross out the First Amendment piece here and not restricting things in favor of non-First Amendment activities over First Amendment activities? Because that seems like if we left that language in, it actually protects the thing that you are saying we should be protecting, which I agree with.
So because what I thought of, and I jokingly call it the teddy bear picnic, but I actually thought of, to me, that was not in my head. I didn't consider that First Amendment.
Right.
I consider that recreational activity
Right.
versus a demonstration. And I didn't want the kids to be kicked out of the park. I mean, that's kind
That's
of
fair. Yeah.
what I thought of in my
Right.
head. But if if Council Garrett is saying happy birthday is an expression that you have the right to do, then it's a non-discussion. Then we don't need to deal with that language to negate it at all. I would withdraw that proposal.
Yeah, I wouldn't support the strike through of this language. And
Okay.
because I don't, to me, this isn't a question of like coming up and kicking people out. It's a question of like, I do think the way that I read this is the licensing commission making its guidelines or rules or whatever we can call them about assemblies and how they will be enforced,
Yeah.
implemented. And so I think that this protects, it just is intended to protect First Amendment activities, which I think we want to protect because they are really important, no matter
Yes.
what your political viewpoint. So
Yes.
I would want to keep this language about not restricting in favor of non-First Amendment activities. And at the end of the day, like the real life scenario, if there's the teddy bear party and then like something comes through, that's actually like the police are going to be dealing with that in the moment, or some combination of people, and that's a different scenario than I think is governed by this
Okay.
ordinance.
Okay. I don't know why I got stuck on it. I was,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
really,
Want to protect the kids.
Yeah, I think you read it.
I think it's
Yeah.
very well intended and it makes sense. And
and so my question, just to make sure that I'm reading this right, and I know you're saying like this was just your notes, but the parts that are highlighted in pink, is there any particular meaning of the highlights?
no,
Okay.
this was just something I read through it, highlighted some stuff, went back again to look at it and just had it highlighted for my own reason.
Great.
The only changes are on page 81. There's two things that I noted, and I'm saying that we should forget the first one. And in the second one, I still would like to delete all the hoo-ha around not demonstrating in front of people's houses. Just
Yeah.
say you can't do it, period. We don't need a lecture on civility.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
that's it.
Thank you.
I really appreciate having you thought through this. I'm just like thinking out loud because this ordinance really matters, just like for all the reasons you just said. Like I think it's a really important ordinance. And so I initially went to Local Progress, which is an association of local municipal officials, to see if they had any language. I asked the ACLU if they had any language. Both said no. And so I trust your judgment on having put on protests, like to think this through. So I feel like this is like multiple stages. There are still several pieces of this that my gut is like, it doesn't feel clear enough to me. I understand your argument, or I'm hearing your argument for like, we might not want to make everything crystal clear. I feel like I have a bunch of questions written, and the way that I would process, like I have little time, but this one matters to me a lot. I think I would honestly like to now just go read through and perhaps just call you and talk to you about this one a bit. I will think more introvertedly about this, like, writing. I promised Kathy that I wouldn't like put on my editor hat with most things, but this might be one of the things that I do want to put my editor hat on. I want to imagine myself putting on a protest and making sure that this is clear enough. So instead of naming all of my questions right now, what I could commit to is in the next week or two, like sitting down with my own brain and then talking to you about it. I think that that's probably the most efficient.
That's fine. No, I think it's fine. I totally agree. I think this is really important.
Yeah.
And I think the more eyes and brains on it, the better.
Okay, great. Okay, so I will commit to doing that.
Okay, great.
Is there anything else that you two want us to be thinking about as we think this through? Yeah.
On page 80, Patty, you highlighted the police protection section, and that, again, the worst case scenario thing, with the size or nature, it requires divergence of a great number of police officers, police unable to properly police line of movement. The idea of a too big of a protest being seen as too big to properly police when it's entirely peaceful is a concern that I have, especially in an authoritarian state. Not that we live in one yet, but
Yeah.
if we creep into one, I don't want, oh, look at all these angry people. There's just too many, to be the reason the protest can't happen. And I don't know what a better solution for that is, because obviously there is public safety issues, and I imagine, Patty, that's why you highlighted it. But that's the one that, like, reading through this, I found myself thinking about more. It's just like, that is definitely worth looking at,
Yeah, okay.
Well, in that section, I actually don't even quite understand
Me
what,
neither.
I mean, I think I understand what that section is trying to say, but it's like a sentence fragment.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's not a full sentence. That was my note. That one
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense. It's not a full sentence.
I read it over like 12 times and it was just like, it's not me.
It sounds almost, just the police are able to be around the protest, I think is what it's trying to say in a way that keeps the protest safe. You know, and not turn into a riot or an unlawful expression of speech, but it is confusing.
Well, and like would deny reasonable police protection to the city. Like, I think there might be a question of like the city denying reasonable police protection to a assembly, but like assemblies don't provide police protection to the city. Like it's just weird wording. It's bad wording.
So when I read this, what I believe it says is that if the demonstration is so huge that that the vast majority of police are in attendance at the demonstration and not therefore policing around town elsewhere, which is kind of strange to think about because people do have phones, that there would be some kind of, that would create a problem with the demonstration happening or something like that. The interesting thing is we just had, two No Kings, huge demonstration.
right.
I guess one of them was 3,000 people or something like that, and marching down Main Street, et cetera, and so on. And the police, they weren't expecting that number, but they handled it quite well, according to
They did.
everybody. I personally was not present at that, but my understanding is it was handled quite well. But futuristically, you're right. This may require, you can't put a number on, you can't say X amount of people, because that, then what's too many cops? What's not enough cops? What does it mean?
Right.
It's very
What's
vague.
too many protesters, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very vague.
Yeah.
And so because there's no way to really enforce it because it's so vague, fine. That's how I'm kind of seeing this on some level. It's because the thing about it is when you get very specific, you can't say a number of protesters. You can't say a number of cops. I mean, really, either way, you can't say a number.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's vague. And frankly speaking, if things keep rolling on the way they do, 3 people is going to be too many. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then,
That's
so
true.
then we'll have to have 5,000 then people, that's how you react to that. But
Thank you. I do want to say thank you for your reframing of the language question about police protection of the city, because you're totally right. And now I see what you mean. And that is accurate. It's still a weird sentence fragment that needs rewording, but that piece of it makes total sense to me now.
If the bank is being robbed, I'm sure a phone call will get made and, somebody will be transferred down to the bank to see, hey, what happened, that kind of thing.
They can call the Deerfield cops, it's just,
Right.
It's true.
Right.
Actually.
or the state police, if all our police are, and just to your point, Patty, I was at the No Kings and the second one, I didn't go to the first one, but the police were great. They were chatting with folks. They were very, just kind of walking along the play, like they did, a good job directing the people and kind of keeping it clear where it was safe and where it wasn't. At one point, they opened up part of Main Street, to people walking because there were so many people walking and it was very smooth. So they did a great job, so it was really impressive, but on everybody's part, protesters.
When we did the immigrant rights demonstration downtown, Officer Zoe was like in the front row cheering away the speeches, which I thought was pretty interesting. Never been in never had a rally like that where I had a police officer standing in the front row cheering. I said, okay, this is fascinating.
Yep.
Great
She's
deal.
a great addition to the force. That's all I gotta say.
Yes.
So this is probably clear, but just to make the implicit explicit here, I think my question about this section is like, when it is of the size of nature, blah, 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 then what? Like, that's the piece that's missing is the then what?
Given that it doesn't say anything currently, is it even needed? Is the section even needed?
Right. That's a good question.
It doesn't say anything.
That's
It
true.
doesn't say what happens.
It is.
So
Right,
why would
exactly.
we
It doesn't
add
say-
something that happened? We would
Do we
just strike
call
it
in
through
more
because
police or do we cancel the demonstration? It's not stated.
Right.
it's not stated, so why state anything?
Right.
it seems like something to be.
That's fascinating. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing.
No. Anything, any other things, Counselor Gordon, that you want us to pay attention to? Okay. All right. I will attempt, Patty, to work, and everyone, I will attempt to work on this quick enough to put it before the 5-day rule. I want this to go forward.
Oh, for December.
So, yeah. Okay. Good discussion on that one. Okay, so then now moving to the rest of the ordinances. I'm curious to hear folks' updates. I'm opening up the ordinance spreadsheet. I would actually like a quick update. And I'm aware of the time, and I'm also aware that it's been a while, and I would appreciate a quick update on each of the things and even if that's like, I can't do it, it's too much, or I'm working on it, not much to say right now, but I actually am working on it, or whatever. I'd be grateful to quickly go through the list. To update the list. Are you all willing to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I am in the ordinance spreadsheet, and alcohol, so I'll just call each one as we go. Alcoholic beverages, Counselor Williams.
Yeah, I had no changes on that. However, on something related, there was I read the ordinance that talked about no consuming alcohol in outside spaces. When it talks about the ordinance that talks about chairs outside of restaurants, it says there's no alcohol drinking in outside spaces. So I got rid of that because half of us are out in front of the People's Pint slugging down brewskis throughout the summer. For God's sakes, it's ridiculous ordinance to have. Then I found out that it had already been taken care of, that it was gotten rid of last June. Now, this is what came from licensing. So why isn't it in the ordinances that we're looking at? So now my fear is, what the hell, how badly not updated are the ordinances that we are trying to correct right now? Oh, Lord. Are we doing work that's already been done? So yeah, I got this information, I submitted that, and was told that, oh, that was taken care of already. The licensing people, I guess Tammy showed it to the licensing person, I forget her name. And I was told that was taken care of last June or a number of Junes ago or something like that.
It was during lockdown when they changed the rules so that people could have outdoor seating.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So
But no, I think it's a really important point.
Yeah.
It raises a unnerving question about what rules have changed, that we now need to bring the ordinance up to be in alignment.
Yeah. I was told that the ordinance changed.
Yeah.
My concern, I was told the ordinance had been changed. So my concern is,
I hear your concern.
what we're looking at, when we go into the ordinances and we're making our suggestions, et cetera, are we looking at the correct language?
Can you?
I actually.
Okay.
So this is, Laura and I have talked to Kathy about this with some of the changes they've made in even the 2 years that I've been here that are in the E-code. And I guess the problem is there's a company that we hire to basically update like our E-code website, but they do it in batches. So it's like there's a tab on the E-code website for new laws, and most things that are changed hang out there because Kathy or Tammy or somebody in the clerk's office put them there, but they sit in this new laws like section until this company gets to it. And they're wicked behind.
I don't know, it's not like a regular schedule. It's not like I can say like every September 1st, they do a batch update. It seems to be like they intermittently will update our E-code and otherwise it just hangs on the new laws tab on the E-code website. So when Quinn pulled these, my guess is what happened is some of these things, because some of them have been there for a while, in the E-code, like charter changes that the state legislature has approved and now they're still sitting in the E-code thing. And so, yeah, no, it's troubling. And if you're the average citizen and you don't know about this, like that's even worse. It's like it's hard enough for us where we, know to go ask Tammy or Kathy or Quinn or whatever, and figure this out or have somebody call us out on it. But but that is my understanding, at least for the E code. I can't speak to the spreadsheet that Quinn put together where they pulled it from. I'm assuming it's the E code. So they probably ran into that issue. Is there anything under new laws?
This is not under new laws.
So that I have not answered your question.
Okay,
But
so,
that was super helpful, John, because I didn't
Yeah.
know that, and I've always wondered about that new laws section
Yeah.
because I forget to check it.
Right.
And also, what the heck? We
Yeah.
need to
yeah,
figure out
Yeah.
how to get our E-code updated on a
Okay.
regular basis.
Yeah.
so can you
So-
please write a note to Tammy, because I'm recalling this email now, like I read it really quickly and I didn't. Like, I read this email from Tammy to you about this, and she said, I'll look at this. Can you, and Tammy, who's listening to this, please do this like right away, because we are looking at them, a lot of them now, and this is we're volunteers. And yeah, I know the concern, I share it. And can you please confirm within the week that all of the ordinances that we're currently looking at are the actual ordinances that exist? And two, can you please contact the company, because all of these we're putting forward a lot of new language so that by like January, somehow we're in the queue to have all of these go into the E-code. We should be going to this new council with everything updated,
Right.
if at all possible.
Right. Yeah. And I wish I could speak more to their schedule, but
Totally.
No. That's what I remember.
Yeah, thank you for being my secretary. I appreciate it. Okay, so back to the spreadsheet. Those are completed. Yeah? The
Yeah.
alcoholic beverages, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep. Okay, so
I gave, Tammy,
Did we just say that the issue is that they're not completed and we don't know what's been updated and what's not?
well, I
when
think
you looked
that
at
was-
them,
I completed what is there,
yeah,
was then told it wasn't necessary. Okay.
yeah,
So the question is it necessary?
right. So can Tammy please
No.
confirm that it's updated? Can she also please email please, Tammy, all of the A and O members, all of us, to confirm that no updates to alcoholic beverages, that Councilor Williams proposed amendments to alcoholic beverages have indeed been passed, and where do they live? So that they're accessible to us and the public. Thank you very much.
I will say
Right.
when I click on the file on the links to go to the current ordinance, it's a file not found.
File not found.
It's not linked properly in the spreadsheet.
Not linked properly. Yeah.
Okay.
What does the E code say? Like if we look at that,
I'd rather,
you don't want to go down.
I don't want to go down, no.
Yeah, we'll be here a
have-
very long time if we do
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't want to go into each of these. I
Everything.
just want to update. Animals, Gordon and Garrett.
I have not touched it.
Well, and we
Unless
were
you-
waiting on some of the animal stuff, the dog stuff that was going through planning board
Right.
and EDC. And I am honestly not sure if all of that has now been done or if there's something still outstanding. So I can check on that. But as a blanket statement, I can say that everything that has my name next to it, friends, I am behind. I'm not proud of that. I apologize. And I can commit to getting it done or bringing at least a very substantive, update in December. But my update on everything with my name on it is that it's not done.
Okay, when you say for December, do you mean bringing it forward before the 5-day rule so that it can be on December's agenda?
I will make my very best efforts to do that. Yes. It does depend a little bit on city people getting back to me, but
Building construction. Brad D. Williams. Counselor Williams. It says in progress. Building permits.
Oh, and that was about there was electrical, I think. And I spoke with, the building department on that. I've sent an email to Mark Snow to see if it was electrical standards, chapter 254 electrical standards. Is that what you're talking about?
Give the update on that and I'll go back to the one I was referencing.
Okay, so I sent him an email to asked if he felt that ordinance needed updating. I haven't gotten back to him.
Or he hasn't gotten back to you.
No, he hasn't gotten back to me. I have nudged him a little. I will nudge him again.
Okay.
Because he was asking people in his department if that could be done, if that's necessary, if that needed to be updated. And
Okay.
then there was another one on fire boxes. I don't have I gave the
Fireboxes? Which number is this?
Oh, I gave the paperwork into the city, so I don't know which one it is. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But it had to do with lock boxes. In the event, there's a ruling that says if you have 6 apartments, you have to have a lockbox outside so the fire department can get access into the building in the event of a fire, etc.
Okay.
I sent an email to the fire chief to see if that was adequate language. He says that language is adequate, so there's no change to that one.
And is anyone able to find out which one that is so we can just click it as?
Oh, Christ, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
You did a lot of work.
Or can you go into the,
Reading,
I don't know which one that is.
I think electrical standards from the.
Oh, that was the one she was just mentioning.
Hmm.
Key lock boxes, but
That's under
no,
you.
that's under me somehow. I don't.
Electrical, it's chapter 254 electrical standards.
Okay, so that's just but that's the one you're also waiting for Mark Snow with. Yeah, that was just a part of that same ordinance.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I don't have the letter from the chief of the fire chief regarding the
That's fine.
lockbox. I'm sorry. I just
You
merged
don't need
the
to
two.
apologize. No, no. You don't need to apologize for anything. I'm just tracking. It sounds like that ordinance has multiple parts and one you checked with.
No,
No.
I merged them in my head. They're not,
Okay.
they're two different things.
Okay,
I did hear back from the fire chief
okay.
who said the present language is adequate.
And
I'm
that's-
still that's the lock boxes.
Electrical standards?
Mm.
I just don't know. There's no ordinance called lock boxes, so I'm just trying to.
Electrical standards is what I'm waiting to hear back from Mark Snow on.
Okay, and do you know the name of the ordinance with the lock boxes?
No, I forget.
Okay,
But let me see. I must have written down. Hang on.
well, while you look.
Oh,
While you look, we can continue on.
building
Development.
construction. No, 224, building construction.
Key lock boxes. Okay.
That's-
got it.
That's
plus.
that's the lockbox one. I have them
Okay.
here.
Great. And the building permits? Chapter, Article 1 of Chapter 224?
I don't have that.
It's, okay, your name is by that one.
Okay, I don't
Could
have
you
that
look
one.
into that one?
Okay, I will look into that one.
Thank you. Okay, Garrett, development review and drainage.
I looked up anything that I put in progress next to, I've read through and made comments on. The ones that I had are not yellow, I haven't looked at yet.
So the ones you made comments on, are those ready to bring forward?
I mean, so a developmental review, what did I do? Oh, instead of having 10 copies of the impact statement, I changed it to electronically. And that's really the only change I made. I have not reached out to any departments about any of these, so the one thought I had about it was that it would be good to talk to somebody, on the planning board or like Director Twarg about them. And so that hasn't happened.
Okay,
But yeah, no, anything with the yellow, I've made changes. We can certainly discuss it. I think like that change is a good one. Instead of having 10 paper copies. At the very least, I think that change is something we could stand on, but
yep,
in the drainage one. That one I added in, it mentioned damage, I changed the pronouns from his or her to their. And I also added in a sentence saying any damage caused to public ways shall be repaired by the city in charge of the property owner responsible in the event of discharge of restricted water. Which I thought was a valid change.
okay. It's hard for me to hear the changes, so does it, sounds like,
I think-
it sounds like you've made the changes that feel necessary to you. It could be good to check with the department heads.
Yeah,
Could you do that and have that in by the 5-day rule?
I think now that we're no longer in the middle of an election, that's very possible.
And you had to prioritize what you had to prioritize?
Exactly. It was also letters of recommendation and
Yep.
the first quarter at the
Yep.
same time.
Yep,
So we're here now.
college season, I am,
And they all got done.
I didn't have to write the
Yes.
recommendations, I just had to make sure that they were in.
Yeah, no,
So
this was definitely the thing I chose. I'm like, well, I can't do everything,
Yep.
so I'm not doing this. And I tried, I got,
I'm choosing,
yeah, I got
I
some comments in, but
support your discernment. So can you do that?
no, yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be very, very doable.
Great. The thing that I have been putting off is talking with the public health department, and I can commit to doing that in the next month. I just don't, my question is, to what extent are these being enforced?
Right.
And what do we do about that? And yeah, so that's my thinking. Okay, excavations,
Yep, no,
259.
that's me, no change.
No change, and you feel that's the, no change, got it, okay, great. The farming one, Counselor Williams, you were going to look into the state's requirement on the posting of, remember we had talked about, this was mine, and then you offered to research. We had talked about that the current ordinance requires us to post that we are a right to farming municipality, and it's not being posted, and then Counselor Gordon asked if the state had a requirement around posting about that. And you said that you would do some research on that.
And I didn't.
Okay, are you willing still?
I will, I
Okay,
will.
thank you very much.
And so to be clear, so because I'm getting really stupid now as the clock ticks away.
Mhm.
I'm researching, is it a state requirement that we post it? Is that what
Yeah,
we're asking?
what state requirements exist pertaining to the posting of right to farming in a municipality?
Okay. Okay,
Firearms are under you as well?
yes, as written, fine.
Fine, okay, we can pause it. This is really good to push that button, okay. junk dealers and collectors.
Oh, yeah. I had to print it out of the eco because it was the wrong link. And I have a paper copy of it with notes all over it on my desk at home.
Okay,
I don't know. I think I'm trying to remember, I did that at work on a prep period. The only weird thing about it is the police chief, if they think you're having a tag sale, it effectively gives them permission to come into your house.
okay, all right.
So
Okay, so I haven't,
to make sure you're not selling stolen goods.
and so I talked to the chief of police about this one, but I didn't talk to him about this one. I talked to him about the tax sale one.
Yeah,
And he was like, there's too many ordinance pertaining to the same thing. I don't want to be policing tax sales.
yeah,
Basically, the tax sale one exists so that people aren't like setting up a new business in front of
Permanent
their
tax
house
sale, yeah.
permanently. And it seems like is pawnbrokers also under you? Are you?
did I have pawnbrokers?
No, I had pawnbrokers and I paused it. Would you be willing to send me like a Google Doc with your thoughts on it, or is it just, no, on the junk dealers one?
Sure, I'm gonna email myself that, because I'm gonna,
If you could do that sooner than like
Yeah.
that,
so I'm gonna
I
say,
just-
find your notes on junk dealers.
and this may seem irrelevant, but this was one of my I don't like the tax sale ordinance. I don't like that people might not know that they can't have a tax sale and then the cops can randomly show up at their house.
Right.
And now that you're saying that the junk dealers one is dealing with the tag sale, the cops can just show up at your house. These need to be,
Yeah, I'll
Amended.
find, and if I can't find it, I'll look at it again.
okay. Is that something that you could prioritize just so then I can think these things through together?
Yes, especially if you hassle me via text.
Okay,
If you don't hear back from me about it, I sent both an email to my work and my regular
Thank
email,
you.
so I'll
okay,
look at it as soon as I look at those emails, hopefully, but
okay. So littering. Are you still with us, Counselor Gordon? Because I have one on yours.
Yes, I am still with you.
So I will say that for chapter 346, I had a meeting with Officer Danger, Zoe, and
their name is Officer Danger.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
She's wonderful. Yeah, Officer Danger.
Okay,
And Counselor Brown, about a whole bunch of ordinances that have to do with policing. And this was the one that, the homeless, because Officer Danger is on the, unhoused committee. So this is the one that they still have a lot of talk to do about. So you don't have to do any work on this one right now.
Oh, great. Those
This
were the people
one-
that I was going to reach out to about it. So
Yeah,
now
they're
I
very
won't.
aware of it and they're talking about it. And there's likely other ordinances that are needed to mitigate the true problems that this one may be intended to mitigate, like noise, or like a noise ordinance may make this have less purpose type of thing. So it's kind of a complex, more systemic thing that will need to be looking at, but they want to take the first. Counselor Brown requested to still take the first go at this, so you don't need to do any work on it right now.
That is great. Thank you so much for passing along that information. I'm going to make a note of that in the spreadsheet. Should I pause it?
Yeah. No, don't
Yeah.
pause it. I have my definitions of the things here is pause means we're not talking about it for until the future when somebody else wants to talk about it in the future. Completed means we've passed something. In progress means it's in progress, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's your responsibility. Given that's just as I've been updating those things, that's what I've been meaning them to mean. Does that work
Okay.
for you? This is
Yeah,
not a law.
I just want to make sure that it's clear, like sort of whose court the ball is in. But I think I
We
can do that
put
in the notes
Brown.
section.
We can put Brown, look, that.
Okay,
Brown.
yeah, let's do that. That makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah. So Safe City is paused for right now.
Yep.
Sewers,
I did not touch the sewers. I remember I was in a talk
Oh,
with Marlo.
don't touch
I did
it.
not touch the sewers. I actually want to reach out to Marlo because there was something he had talked to me about regarding with ADUs and indemnification of the city and some of the city's current practices. And I would love to actually speak to him and then also then go to the current director, who his name is escaping me. Because there was something about the sewers that he wanted to talk to me about that yeah, other than it being about liability on the city's part, that's all I can remember specifically.
Okay,
So,
all right, so you'll plan to reach out to him.
yeah.
All right, storage tanks underground.
You just tell me.
Yeah, it's you.
Anything that says not started, I have not started.
Okay,
If it's got yellow next to it, I've looked at it.
okay. The sidewalk stuff, and you've looked at it, is that ready to?
Yes.
I will say I paused the piece about obstruction of sidewalks.
Right.
I paused that after my conversation with Officer Victory.
Yeah, I made some comments on this a while ago. I think this was the first thing I looked at. I haven't reviewed it since. Through. Yeah, I found some language. Okay, I looked at this in May. Then the obstruction of sidewalks piece is what I had looked at. I looked at Northampton's ordinance. The part
Do they
about,
have something better?
yeah, I
If they
commented.
have something better, then let's do
It's in
something
the
better.
comments, if you look on page 10.
Page 10?
Yep, page
Oh,
10.
is it, are you here? You made comments on the document?
This is chapter 385. Yeah, so yeah, I just copy and paste the language from Northampton
Oh, that's great.
because I thought it was better than ours. And then the other one, I thought we should remove the part about no bicycles on the sidewalks in the downtown. Because the next section is about them having to yield the right of way.
Okay. So are you ready to put this forward?
No, because I'm looking at another comment I made that said find a model ordinance, replace this with. So there's a bunch of stuff I'm confident about, but it's another one I would want to look at again. I think with the same level of we're ready, to get it going as the other stuff, just with some checking with folks.
Okay,
So,
great.
yeah, I'll do my homework and
Thank you.
try to get it. Actually, what would be helpful to know? When is the 5-day rule gonna hit for us? What's our due date here? So the 2nd of December is a Tuesday, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so the 25th of November, so right before Thanksgiving.
And then, okay. There is a project to be had with this, and I don't think that it's so. Counselor Williams, you're the only one with time. I'm just naming this in case, or are you frozen? Oh, there you are.
I'm here.
So there's a project pending that I have not had time to follow up on, and I'm not looking at one of you two because I know you have 0 time, so I'm naming it. I reached out to the mayor about the vacant and foreclosing property ordinance to see there had been interest in updating this to have a penalty or some type of taxation for vacant properties. And she asked me to reach out to Director Kathleen about it. And I just have not had the ability to follow up on this. This feels like a new project, and currently the project that I'm really committed to is a new gender protection ordinance. I'm saying it's on the table as something that if you want a project, it's a project that could be had. Okay, right. So I could just say that I can just follow up with the mayor then and say, well, committee members do not have the capacity to take this on. But if they want to bring forward language, we would love to hear it.
Yes, good.
Okay. Okay. Let me just see if I'm not asking you, Counselor Gordon, about any of your other things because you asked me not to. Vendors.
I
You're
have,
welcome. Yeah,
I have one more.
yeah, okay, I'm sorry, maybe that's my brain, now I'm doing my jumping back and forth thing, so. Was yours the street sidewalk piece?
It was under, yeah, sidewalk, outdoor seating,
Yeah,
Articles 9. Under private maintenance of structures, there's this ridiculous, I don't know if it's real, but because it's under the same thing as the outside drinking, but there's language that says that structures, so like umbrellas cannot have advertising on them.
Yeah.
Which I think is ludicrous, because that's how restaurants get their umbrellas, is that there's a beer company or some kind of food company, and
uh,
you see umbrellas outside of restaurants, and there's always some kind of advertising on them.
okay, so
That's
do
a
you
fair
want
point.
to amend that? Do you want, without us going into, without us discussing it, and can you write in your amendment here? Not right now, but,
Well,
should
I
say-
gave this is one of I gave everything I did to Tammy. For some reason, the only thing that came out from Tammy was this one that had already been done.
okay, so can you put a request to Tammy, and Tammy is listening? Can you please send to the committee everything that Counselor Williams sent to you?
Yes.
Please, thank you very much, appreciate it.
I pity Tammy for dealing.
I
with
know, this is not fun. Thank you. All right. Okay, and I'm wondering if the vendors. I wonder if vendors have something to do. Right, I'm gonna, oh. There's vendors there. Chief Dodge was like, there's a lot of ordinances that have the same pawnbrokers, vendors,
Junk dealers.
junk dealers, and tag sales. Okay.
Could be a folk song.
We're gonna sing a song, okay, ballad. All right. Okay. All right, anything else that we didn't? I think that's the whole list. All right,
Amen.
hallelujah, so be it, may it be so. Or not, okay,
It was helpful to
I
go
am-
through, though. Thank you.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
written the word adjourn on the list of votes.
Have you?
I have, just in case. That's might be what you're thinking.
Okay, so. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I would like to motion to adjourn.
That's my motion.
Is that a second?
That's a nice book.
Is
I
that-
was doing weird hand gestures at the beginning.
I interpret that dance as a second. Is this accurate?
Yes.
All right,
Yes,
Okay.
indeed. Indeed.
On
Good
the
meeting,
motion-
folks. Well
the-
chaired.
Wait, we
Thank
have to
you.
actually vote on it. We do
On
have
the-
to vote on it.
Right, on the
Oh.
motion to adjourn, Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Golub, yes. This meeting is now complete at 8:48 PM. Good job.